Welcome here inside Quicken Loans Arena. Cavs a loser tonight against the defending champion San Antonio Spurs, 92-90. That's now 2 losses in a row for the Wine and Gold. It's our Cavs postgame show here on cleveland.com. Chris Fedor, Joe Vardon, and Chris Haynes. Chris, when you look at this game and you go back and think about it a couple days later, what would you say was your biggest takeaway from this one?
Just the fact that the Spurs seem to have a soundproof scheme on how to contain LeBron-James. When you talk about how they shadow him to the help side, shadow him and make him force him to drive amongst trees. And LeBron-James, he's going to make some difficult shots. But it shows that, LeBron-James alluded to after the game that, hey, they forced me into some tough shots. And tonight he just wasn't hitting those. They play him the best out of anybody else in the league. And it's not a soundproof system. LeBron James is a superstar. But they have a good strategy in guarding this guy.
LeBron finished with 15 points, also had 9 assists. Joe, he mentioned in the locker room after the game, hey, my shot wasn't falling. I knew that they were trying to do certain things to me defensively, so I tried to attack in different ways and try to get other guys involved.
Well, I mean, Chris is right from the standpoint that they do have a scheme that's tough on LeBron, but and I'm going to get the exact number wrong, but I'm close. LeBron averaged like 27 a game in the finals last year. I mean, he can score the ball against this team and any team. He didn't play well tonight, and he said as much. I mean, he really didn't. He turned the ball over 5 times. 17 shots. I mean, there's been nights when he's taken 11 to 15 shots and said that's not enough for him. He did impact the game in other ways. I mean, he had some assists, he had some rebounds, but he was ineffective in the area where he is usually the most effective.
It was kind of a fitting end to this one, too, here tonight at the Q, folks, because Manu Ginobili goes to the free throw line, has a chance with another free throw to make it a 3-point game. Instead, he misses the free throw. The Cavs get the rebound, get it to LeBron James. Cavs down 2, no timeouts remaining. And instead of LeBron going down court, hitting a game-winning 3, game-tying 2, something along those lines, he fumbled the ball away. He turned it over. 18 turnovers tonight, Chris, for the Cavs. That's not something that you can do against a lot of teams in the NBA and be successful. You certainly can't do it against San Antonio.
The Spurs make you pay because they're a team that they have a low possession of count, during the game because they milk the clock. But when you give them extra possessions, that makes them a lot tougher. And when you think about the turnovers, that was pretty much all that did it because you look at offensively, both teams kind of hovered around the 45% mark throughout the course of the game. So it was really turnovers that did the most of it. I believe they got, 22 points or something like that off the turnover. So you cannot allow that, especially against a team like this who thrives in. They don't run much, but when they get turnovers, they do like to get in transition and get some easy buckets.
All right, Joe, I'm going to ask you the question that I was getting a lot in the comment section during the live chat. It's something that I'm getting on Twitter. Seems ridiculous considering LeBron James is the Eastern Conference Player of the Week, the reigning one. Is something wrong with LeBron?
No, I don't think so. I really don't. And you said it best, Chris. I mean, anybody who saw him play last week, he was out of his mind. He was sick on Monday, and he still had 22. I mean, he still had lift. It's just, he ran into a tough opponent and had a bad night. I do not accept that something is really wrong with him. If anything, I think he's feeling a little better than he was earlier on in the year. So, I know it's a hot topic, but I don't think so.
Give Kawhi Leonard a lot of credit because you talk about LeBron not having a good game. And we all know LeBron is going to score, but 17 field goal attempts, part of the reason was because Kawhi was shadowing him, denying him the ball, not allowing him to get the ball in a lot of scoring opportunities. So, we all can say that, hey, LeBron James, it was just off night. There was a reason. He's the best player in the world, but there was a reason. Kawhi Leonard, he didn't shut him down, but he just made sure he didn't get the ball in some of his sweet spots.
Cavs a loser tonight, 92-90, second loss in a row for the Cavs. Now in the locker room, there was kind of the same message going, Chris. It was, okay, we lost this game against San Antonio, but we made progress. And this loss doesn't feel like the Denver loss from the other night because we played the right way for the most part, and we just kind of shot ourselves in the foot late. Do you take it as that way?
Yeah, I'm not so sold on taking that type of narrative to this game. definitely there were some good things about it, but, overall, let's throw it off the players. Coach Black has some questionable decision-making out there as far as the rotation goes. I believe Joe Harris played close to 20 straight minutes in the game. It's a rookie playing at this level and this magnitude. He had to been tired. I don't care if fresh legs or not. He
admitted it after the game. He was tired.
See, I didn't get to talk to him. And so that was questionable. And then you got Mike Miller out there who hasn't played at all. I talked to him after the game. Mm-hmm. So, are you hurt? Like, no, I'm ready to go. So, there's some things that, it doesn't fall all on the players. I think the coach staff had to take some of the blame too.
Chris, I'm glad you said that, not buying it, because I don't think the Spurs played well. They're not playing well either. So, it's the defending world champion. Yeah, they play LeBron tough, but it's not like the Spurs came out and played like gangbusters and the Cavs almost won. The Spurs fumbled and stumbled around for the entire first half. I mean, the third quarter had basically ground to a halt. Both teams were moving, so sloppily through the process. So I agree with you. There were a couple bright spots, but as far as really taking a bunch from this game, I'm not sold on that either.
And Chris, you mentioned it. Joe Harris played about the last 20 minutes of the game, and when the Cavs needed a stop, absolutely needed to have a stop, Manu Ginobili just took him to school. He said, "Hey, Rook, you're going to guard me. Give me the ball. I'm going to go backdoor on you." Joe Harris lost sight of him. Is that a situation where next time Coach David Blatt needs to have a guy like Shawn Marion in the game? He is a defensive stopper, is he not?
Probably so. I'm not criticizing Blatt for having Joe out there during the latter parts of the game. I'm criticizing for how long he was in there for that time, because in a situation like that, that's a good learning experience for Joe. To have to learn and be in a situation like that, because now he'll know, well, next time I can't play on him hard like that. I can't do that. That should have been an and one when he pushed Ginobili on that shot. That could have been, it could have been a tougher situation. But no, I think it's good for him. And Pop does that too. Puts young guys in there in later parts of the game. Let them gain from that, get some experience, and build confidence going through. So I like that part. I just question having Harris out there for so long.
So some positives in this one tonight for the Cavs. They lose 92-90 against the San Antonio Spurs. Also some questions as the Cavs move forward. They've got Washington on Friday on the road. Then they come right back here to the Q on Saturday night to take on the Toronto Raptors. Two really tough teams, good teams in the Eastern Conference. People would say playoff caliber teams. So no real rest for the Cavs. One last thing before we get out of here, Joe. Kevin Love. How can the Cavs get Kevin Love more involved? In the fourth quarter against Denver, he got 2 shots. In the fourth quarter tonight against San Antonio, he got 1 shot. This is one of the best players in the game, and he's not getting the ball late.
That's a great point, Chris. And I think that in the third quarter, they sort of went out of their way to get him involved. And in doing so, I think it kind of really mucked up the pace. I think this is going to be a little bit of an issue for a couple reasons. For one, they have to get him involved because he's such a good player. But secondly, the guy who plays that role, especially with LeBron and a Kyrie on the floor, has to be more comfortable getting your points in what we call them garbage points. I mean, it's the ball that bounces off the rim and you put it back. I mean, it's what Carlos Boozer used to do here. Some other players like that used to do. That's not Kevin Love's game. I mean, he's the guy that you feed. And so it's an adjustment for him.
Yeah, well, we kind of saw signs of this, last preseason game, so it's not surprising. A lot of times in an offense like this where you got 2 ball-dominant perimeter guys, you're going to have that big man's going to get left out a lot of times. So I think this was just one of those nights as well.
You can say what you want to about Chris Bosh. You can say that he was the third wheel in Miami. You can say that he looks like a dinosaur. Heck, people have said he looks like a dinosaur, but seems like a prophet. He said it was going to be a struggle getting adjusted for Kevin Love, and it certainly has. Cavs a loser tonight, 92-90. They're now 5-5 on the season, 2-game losing streak as they head to Washington, D.C. to take on the Washington Wizards, then back here at the Q on Saturday night against the Raptors. For Chris Haynes and Joe Vardon, I'm Chris Fedor. Keep it on cleveland.com/Cavs. We've got continuing coverage into the night and tomorrow, and we'll talk to you next time. Have a good night, everybody.